Ramon. Okay. Hey. Hi, Ramon. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Tom? Good to see
Thanks
you.
for joining me for a few minutes. Could kind of share some of your ideas during this craziness that we're going through. Why don't you introduce yourself and your business and
Sure, sure. So thanks for having me. My name is Ramon Peralta. I'm the founder and creative director at Peralta Design. We're a full service digital creative agency located in Shelton, Connecticut, and we launch brands.
okay, great. Hey, I know your team is going crazy, but how are you doing and your team? How are they doing and dealing with the craziness that we have going on?
Yeah. Well, we managed to stay busy for the last 3 months. We when this all went down, we had one team member coming into the office. Jorge, remember, he came into the office with a mask on, and nobody else on the team was quite there yet. But he was kind of ahead of the curve, and
Hmm.
he actually sat down with clients in our conference room while he was wearing a mask, and we all kind of felt like he was overreacting a bit. And within the next couple of days, there was a governor's orders, and we decided, for the safety of the team and for everyone, that we would be working remotely 100%. So we did a phase out, where we went to half people in and half people out, and then we went to 100%. By that Monday, we did 100% working remotely, and we had to make some changes. We had a couple employees that needed to take computers home, so we allowed them to do that. There were a few employees that didn't have the most optimal setups in the
Right.
background,
Yeah.
so we invested in some of those to kind of make their presentation look more professional.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Was it really challenging having people working from home or?
It was scary. I was scared. The team was scared. We didn't know what really was going to happen to our workflow. We did lose some business initially, where a few clients that were tied into education had to put things on hold. We had one client that was really tied into events. 100% of their revenue was coming from events, so they
Oh
had to
wow.
put things on
Yeah,
hold.
they took a big hit.
Yes. So we lost a little bit of business in the beginning, but we um, decided we would have staff meetings every morning instead of just every Monday morning. So that was one of the first things we did, to do kind of an emotional wellness check-in the mornings with everybody, see how everybody's doing,
Right.
see what everybody's working on, and we also agreed that everyone would wear their company logo either on a polo or a name badge or some kind of gear, so that even though we were all separated, we had some kind of uniformity, and we could all be together in spirit.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. Yeah, I recommend to a lot of my clients that they had to start huddling every day, even at the end of the day too, because
Yeah,
people working out of home for the first time, it's can
yeah,
get lonely.
yeah. It was, and we had already for quite some time been utilizing Google Hangouts or Google Chat
Hmm.
as a messaging platform, even when we were all in the office. So even when we were in the office, we communicated through instant messenger, and so that continued. So we could create rooms in there, and we could, it was part of our G Suite package. So
Right.
we continue to communicate throughout the day, and really pay close attention to the calendar, and just have, we had to re-emphasize, we had to over communicate.
Right. No, I think that was a smart thing. It's you had to step up, take the leadership. So give you a lot of credit for that because a lot of people. I have a couple clients that just kind of ran and hid, and I'm like, you can't do.
Right.
We had to reel them back in. You can't. You got to be. Now's your time to step up. So that's
Right, right. Well, one of the things that alleviated the fears for the team initially was we created a COVID landing page on our website with COVID resources. We began to promote our partners, so we created like a free advertising campaign for all of our clients and strategic partners. So we tried to put out more content. So
right.
we just had a very strong digital marketing strategy that carried us through during the pandemic, and we kept putting out more content. I had ramped up my videos. I started putting out one video a week.
Right.
We created a page on our website where people could get free resources on how to do things on their own. We felt like people are going to have more screen time. They're going to want to learn how to, you know,
Mm.
Canva, use Zoom, or use, you know, how to get remote ready. So we just put ourselves more into like, how can we help others during
Awesome. Yeah, that's a lot. Can you? That's something. That's all you can do. I'm in the same boat. You know, just get out and help everybody, build everybody back up. I think that's the best way to do it. And
right.
figure it out later. You know, keep everybody's head above water. Then
Exactly.
you know, to get through this. Any major changes or just small? I tell people it's a lot of little changes that you have
Yeah.
to make, not anything major. Any specific changes you had to make?
Well, I had to trust my team a lot more than I was used to. There were many meetings that team members had to run independently. When we had clients come into the office pre-COVID, it was easy to kind of pop in, say hello, and check in, and
Right.
have an ear to what was happening. Whereas with multiple meetings going on at the same time, uh, team members just had to work independently that may not have been used to working independently before. And so, like you mentioned earlier, checking in the afternoons, debriefing after meetings, really letting them know, hey, I'm not micromanaging here, but how did that go? You know, how did that meeting, you know, what's our next step? I needed to get more information, and then I also made myself more available to team members that wanted to run an email by me that they were going to send that normally I would send, but now they were more in contact with the client. So uh, I would say more critical thinking, more decision making independently, because we were all working in different places.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Some of that, you know, there's some benefits that come out of it. You know.
I think so. I think so. I had to empower people. I just had to say, I know you can handle it. Do you think you can handle it? And then, you know, when you phrase it that way, you give people confidence to say, hey, they trust me to do this. I'll step up. And you'd be surprised. People will live up to their expectation. If you set the bar high, they'll be amazed at what they can actually get accomplished.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think it's even harder for the business owners like yourself is to give up, you know, control to
Right.
you know, give up a little control and delegate a little better versus, you know, you're not abdicating, you're learning how to delegate. You know,
Right.
that's
Right.
and usually it's more on the business owners.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
we
Exactly.
all learn, right?
Exactly. And I was extra flexible and lenient and patient. You know, people that weren't used to managing their entire day were now kind of like not sure what the priorities were. Not everyone, but some. And so more communication in that regard and just being lenient. You know, expressing to clients to be patient with us, with our response times. Everyone was in uncharted waters. So
Mm,
I think that it made sense for us to be patient with our clients, and me to be patient with the team, and just kind of being, let's be human. Let's all get through this. This is all scary. And that led us right up into the reopening. So we kind of took it in phases. We went into like, hey, let's raise awareness on COVID. Let's teach others how to work remotely. And then we shifted gears into, okay, let's reopen and let's lead the way and be
yeah.
an example and be proponents of reopening safely, because unfortunately the media and the news cycle wants two extremes. They either
Yeah.
want uh, people that are hiding under their desks that will never come out of the house, or the other extreme is the people that believe that it's all a hoax and you shouldn't wear a mask. There is a middle ground,
Yeah.
and that's the one that's the voice that gets drowned out because it's not sensational,
Yeah.
but it's the voice of reason. We need to reopen. People, despite the unrest that's going on, people need to make a livelihood. They need to pay their bills. They need to feed their families. Life has to continue, and there is a way, I believe, to do it safely, and we've been trying to be the examples of that as a business.
No, that's actually I'm right with you. You don't get hurt if you're in the middle because it's
Right.
not newsworthy. You know.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. They want the controversy, they want the ratings, and I think as business owners, we can be examples of how to do it properly, how to keep our customers safe, how to keep our employees safe. We just decided that in the reopening, we would have no clients visit us. So
Okay.
we have a policy in place where we have 50% capacity in the office. So we have 8 people. So 4 people are in the office and 4 people are out. The 4 people that are in each have their own space.
Okay.
They're in their own offices with doors. And we did install plexiglass in some of the areas that are common. And we bought extra sanitizer and wipes, and we have the place disinfected every week. We went through the self-certification that the governor put out
Right.
online. But all meetings with clients are going to continue to be remote, and we will not have any visitors to the office either. And we've just created an environment where the team feels comfortable going in. We can control who comes in and out, and the rest of the team is working remotely, and we'll transition in as things,
Right.
as some of the restrictions ease up.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That falls right in line with what I've been recommending. You got to follow the rules,
Right.
have common sense about it too. So,
Right.
yeah, no, I think that's great points. Were there any pivots you had to make in your marketing? Did your target market change at all, or?
Yeah, I think that we became more, we became more of an educator than we were before. So we put out more free content. We became our marketing was not about selling anymore. It was about here's some information that we'd like to share, and we try to use our own origin story as inspiration, meaning that our company was started in the last economic downturn when I got laid off in 2008.
Right.
So we've been trying to inspire others to say, hey, this is a great time to start something. If you've been displaced, this is a good time to start. If you've been thinking about starting something, sometimes crisis, creates opportunity. So we've been trying to take an optimistic approach, but not one of selling our service in the traditional way, whereas more of an inspiration to say, it's not all doom and gloom. I've basically told the team, let's be a beacon of hope. Let's be a beacon of light during a very dark time. And that's been our mantra on a daily basis, is just be positive, be optimistic. There's enough negativity, and it's a crazy time where people have family members that are affected, or the news is negative. There's unrest. Another thing I recommend, Tom, as a side note, is I limited my news intake, and that helped me tremendously. I think in the beginning we were all glued to our TVs because we just wanted to know everything, and then you realize, like, this is actually depressing the heck out of me. I'll look at it in the morning and maybe a little bit in the evening, but I used to have it on in the background. I'm a news junkie.
Yeah.
And during all this time, I just have to tune it out, or else it really starts to weigh on you.
Yeah, I think you're right on with that. I've done the same thing. I've tried. It's not easy, but matter of fact, I started a little fun argument on Facebook with my New York Ranger fans. I said, hey, we got to get rid of the politics. Let's get back to fighting about the Flyers and the Rangers.
Right. You need that. You need that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The more, and if I'm over a house and people are in a small gathering, but and it starts, it's like it's good to see people's passion about certain things, but just it's just I'm with you. The news sways it to whatever message they want to tell. It's not facts anymore. But that's good advice, especially for a business owner. Keep away from that, because it eats up your day if you let it get there.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. And we've encouraged other companies to pivot. One example is our mutual friend Harry, who his printing kind of took a hit over the pandemic, but he pivoted into doing installations where he's installing sneeze guards, because in his supply chain he had access to the material. So he's busy, and he's doing more installations, and he's making places safe.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, no,
it's good to see.
Yeah. Well, that was my next question. Is like, because I'm talking to people, what pivots have been made in, income or revenue sources. I've kind of changed mine a little bit, figuring that, the one-on-one coaching, kind of trying to focus more on bringing groups together. So I think it's more, get more people involved and,
Right.
um,
We've noticed an uptick in digital marketing contracts
mhm.
it's over the last 3 months. Less in the printing. Web has kind of been steady, but we've definitely seen a noticeable spike in digital marketing because people want to increase sales during this time. They want to increase brand awareness. They know that they have a captive audience. And that the salesman, I was on a call this week with a painting company, 35-year-old painting company. They still had the same business development guy who's been with them the whole time. And he's an old school guy, Southern accent, person to person. He likes going out and meeting people in the field. All that stopped.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if your business wasn't set up to do digital marketing or to promote your business, even when you were asleep, or to have a website that had all the information that you could point someone to, then you were behind. And so I think that's why as far as our revenue streams, a lot more of our business is coming through uh, campaigns that we've developed on Google and on LinkedIn
Right.
and on Facebook, versus the traditional, say, like direct mail or print or things like that. So I think people are realizing I need to have a digital strategy because we're not going to meet person to person for some time.
Yeah.
That's starting to lighten up a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but I don't think it's going to get back to where it was.
Not 100%, no.
No, no, and for whoever's listening, I've known you for a long time, and I know your success was always in startups.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody's start listening to this and starting up, I know your experience in that. It would be a great help for anybody that wants to start their own business.
Yes, and that we just recorded a brand new live today, and it was focused on an MVP, or the minimum viable product, which is
Mhm.
what we recommend when somebody's trying to start something. As you know, Tom, they may have grand visions of what their company could eventually be, but their starting point can often be something very, very simple and very, very cost effective to just begin. And then they can kind of, as I like to say, you can build the ship as you fly.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
based on factors, based on customer feedback, based on, turbulence or changes in the market. But I think too many people have this dream of launching a company, and they just continue to build it and build it and build it in their minds to the point that it's overwhelming and they don't really have a starting point. And I think
right.
in the
That's a
beginning, you want
good
to keep
point.
it simple.
Yeah. So yeah, I know you, and hopefully, my guess is in the next 6 months, you're probably going to see a lot of that.
Yeah.
People, not going back or wanting to start their own thing from home for whatever reason. Um, so what advice would you give a business owner? Now, I mean, there's different stages, right? Some are still in lockdown. I call it training mode. Some are warming up. Others are in sprint, and the others are competing and growing. I have a couple of clients that are running out of. They can't find material. I mean, the sales are there, everything's back, and the supply is not changed, not working. So, yeah, what advice would you give business owners that are restarting or reopening right now?
I just to increase their presence online, increase their digital footprint, put out more content. If you're reopening, I think taking pictures and documenting the changes that you're making in your physical locations is important to put out there. The perception that you're making changes or that you're making the place safe for business or that you're reopening is super important. Even if it's a video, even if it's homemade, I think just put content out there so people see what changes you're making in your business. I've seen a great example is a friend of mine, cast iron chef in New Haven. He probably, I imagine had to furlough his entire staff initially, but he continued to cook these packaged meals, and he filmed himself, cooking a meal for four and then bringing it out to the curbside. And so he stayed on the radar, and they were very engaging videos, because you don't often see a five-star restaurant chef, preparing a meal and then bringing it out to the customer.
Right.
It was
That's a great idea.
very much outside of his normal. And those are the things that owners need to do. Bing Carbone is another one that's been very active on LinkedIn and Facebook. he's the president of the company, and he's sharing content, and he's asking others to share it. And so some people are going to be receptive to digital and social, and some are going to be resistant. And I think my biggest advice to you right now is you've got to embrace it, because right now it's all we have.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a presence on digital, and you don't have to be on every platform. I think LinkedIn, if you're in B2B, you've got to have a presence on LinkedIn. Otherwise, people think that you either went out of business, or you're shut down, or you're dormant, or you've got to have a visual out there so that when people Google you, they know you're still in business. And if you're for some reason not operating, it's still okay to put your brand out there and talk about what you're going to do when you open.
Right.
So it could be documenting, it could be sharing the future. I like to say visualize the future, or show customers what the future is going to be. And those are things you can do even if you're not conducting business at the moment. You still can put your brand out there.
Yeah, I think you're right on with that. That's so important right now. You got to show people. I don't care what you're showing them, but you got to have content out there.
You got to put content out there, even if it's like in your situation, subject matter expert. Let's just say you're a realtor. I mean, realtor is probably a bad example because that market right now, everybody's moving out of New York and it's still booming. But let's say you're a home inspector, or you are let's say you're a plumber. I'm just going to pick something. If you're not busy, you can talk about plumbing. You can talk about little things that you take for granted because you're the expert, but nobody else knows about this. And you can put content out on a weekly basis. If you have a database, you can email that content out to your clients and just stay on the radar. And it could just be like, here are the top 5 things every homeowner should do with their plumbing, or here's a new type of pipe that just came out, or here's something that I wanted to share that I found interesting that they're doing in Australia. It doesn't really matter as long as you continue to reinforce that you are a subject matter expert, so that when business picks up again for you, people remember this guy, Tom, knows what he's talking about. And so it's all about staying on the radar and reinforcing yourself as a subject matter expert and adding value. If you're not billing anyone, give away your information, and guess what? Somebody out there is going to say, you know what, I know a guy, or I know a gal, and that's how you're going to get that referral. Yeah,
that's funny you're talking about a plumber. I just got a client back after 3 years, and that's exactly what we're talking about. I said, just do information, because when they look you up, it's a great way to do it.
Absolutely.
Ramon, I really appreciate your time. I know you're busy during this time and this craziness, but man, this is great. How would people get a hold of you if they have some questions for you?
Yeah, so our website, peraltadesign.com, is probably the easiest way to get a hold of us. And my email is ramon@peraltadesign.com. You can follow us on Instagram @PeraltaDesignHQ. Also pretty active on LinkedIn. I try to post 1 video a week there. So those are pretty much the biggest platforms for us, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And worst case scenario, get a hold of Tom, and then Tom will
I'll get you there. Trust me, I'll get you there. Hey, Ramon, thank you so much. And I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom.
Got it.